Well, hello, people. I'm back. Are you awake? Are you alive? Are you feeling all right? Seen a lot of you doing a lot of good work here recently, so I just want to say thank you for that. And if I have to stop a couple times, I just want to know I've been eating some of your candy that you left, that I had left over. So, you know, I don't have my points to give away on your point slip, so you people are forcing me to eat the candy. So I might have a little Sour Patch Kid stuck to my teeth somewhere, but don't worry, we're going to get through it. Okay, so today's question is, why did the donut become a priest? Why did the donut become a priest? Because he always felt really holy. He always felt really holy. Alright. Now, that ties in, of course, today. We're going to continue our discussion about circles, people. And today we're going to talk about circle area. So, let's get down to it. What do you say? Alright. So, we've been talking about circumference. Is, of course, all the stuff
in here. So, like if this was the pizza, and you know, you had your pepperoni and your cheese and your sauce and all that stuff in here, okay? Then we'd be talking about area, and area is in square units. So even if you were talking about a rectangle, or a square, or a trapezoid, or a triangle, it was going to have some kind of square units. So of course that would be like inches squared, feet squared, centimeters squared, meters squared, etc. Okay, so that's going to tie into our formula we're getting ready to talk about here in just a second. Okay, everything's in square units. In square units. So, of course, the circumference formula was pi times diameter. Okay, for the area of a circle, you're going to have to do a little squaring. Okay, so it's pi times radius squared. Pi times radius squared. So you'll probably see it like this. A equals pi r squared. Now, if you don't have a squared button on your calculator, okay, if you don't have a squared button, you'll just do pi times radius times radius. Okay, so that's the alternate version if you don't have a squared button. Pi times radius times radius. So just multiply, you know, if it happens to, if the radius is 6, you'd do pi times 6 times 6. Or if the radius was 12, you'd do pi times 12 times 12 if you don't have a squared button. No big deal. Just multiply the radius together 2 times. Okay? So we're going to go through a couple different versions here. We're going to do some with whole numbers. We're going to do some with decimals, fractions, and then I got a donut problem to finish up with. Okay? Since we did the donut question here about the priest becoming a donut, I'm going to finish up with a donut problem. Alright. So, let's talk about doing it with a whole number. I'll do some with pictures, some without pictures. So let's start one with a picture. And let's say you've got this picture, and that line going all the way across there is 28 centimeters. Okay, so what is that line called that goes all the way across? Well, of course, that's the diameter. Alright, so we know that the diameter is 28. Now to get the radius, of course, you got to use the radius in this formula. So you got to take half of that. Okay, so take the diameter divided by 2. That means the radius would be 14. When we get that number, we are ready to go. Okay, so the formula again is pi times radius squared. Okay, pi times radius squared. So we're doing 3.14 times, we got the radius, which is half of 28, 14 squared. Alright, we'll bring in the old trusty blue here. Alright, big blue. Let's see what we got. So 3.14 for pi times 14, and I got my squared button up here, so I'm going to use that. Alright, so 3.14 times 14 squared. Again, if you don't have a squared button, just do 3.14 times 14, same thing. And we get an area of 615.44 going to the hundredths place. Now, if this asks you to go and give you an answer to the tenths place, okay, since there's a 4 there, if it was going to the tenths place, you'd just say it's 615 4/10. Alright, so that's to the hundredths place. And that's to the tenths place. And since that is not 5 or higher right there, we did not round it up. Alright, let's do another one with a whole number. Alright, let's say you had this picture. I know you love my artwork. Great, ain't it? Okay, let's say you had a radius of 18 inches.
Okay, so that's the picture you got. Radius 18. Well, in this kind of situation, okay, they're already giving you the radius, okay, so you don't have to worry about, you know, dividing by 2 or any of that stuff, because you already know that that right there is the radius, because it's, you know, the one going halfway across the circle. So you know the radius is 18. So you just come on over and say, okay, well, I know my formula is pi times radius squared, and that is going to be 3.14 times 18 squared. Simple enough. Okay, let's bring our blue back in here. 3.14 times 18 times 18. This time I'm gonna do it this time like I don't have a squared button. Okay, so 3.14 times 18 times 18, or you could do 3.14 times 18 squared if you do have the squared button. Either way, you can see it's the same, and that is an area of 1017 and 36 hundredths. Please do not put in any commas when you're putting this stuff in on the computer. Okay, pretend like it's a graded response question. Don't put a comma in there. Just put it in just like that. If it says go to the nearest tenths place, since there's a 6 right there, and that's 5 or higher, that means it's going to round it up to 1017 and 4 tenths. Okay. Alright, so there's a couple with drawings and whole numbers. Alright, let's say we go to one that is a decimal. We'll do one this time without a picture. Still, of course, doing pi times radius squared. So let's say we know that the diameter, which of course is all the way across, is 26 and 48 hundredths. Okay, so we got the decimal, 26 and 48 hundredths. Let's say that's feet. Again, this is your diameter. This is going all the way across the circle through the center from one edge to the other. So you know the diameter is 26 and 48 hundredths. Okay. Now to get the radius, what do you do to that number? Well, you got to take half of it, right? Got to divide that by 2. Okay. So if you divide that by 2, that would be 13 and 24 hundredths. Now I did that in my head. You probably can do it in your head too, but if you needed to do it on the calculator, I guess you can, but you know, you guys can divide all those numbers by 2 and get 13 and 24 hundredths. Now I've got my radius. I'm ready to rock it out. Okay. So again, it's pi times radius squared. So 3.14 is what we're using for pi. Radius is 13 and 24 hundredths, and we got to square that. All right. So here's old blue back one more time. Everybody see that? All right. Okay. So 3.14 for pi times the radius, 13 and 24 hundredths. Again, if you don't have the squared button, just multiply it. You know, put the radius in there twice, and there's that. If you do have the squared button, oh, messed that one up. Make sure you do 13 and 24 hundredths squared, and you can see those answers are exactly the same. So that is 550, and then that's 43 hundredths. Okay. Again, if you're going to go to the tenths place, okay, that's a 3 in the hundredths place right there. Okay.
Okey-dokey. Alright, so remember, if it gives you a diameter like I did on example 3 up here, or example 5 here, make sure you cut those diameters in half to get you down to the radius. Alright, now, here's the one where the wailing and gnashing of teeth start happening. The fraction ones, okay? So this time, not only am I going to do away with the pictures, but I'm also going to give you a fraction, okay? So we'll start out with the easy one. Let's say they tell you the R, which of course the R stands for radius. Let's say they tell you the radius is 7 3/4 inches. Alright, I'm not expecting you to put the 3/4 in on your calculator, or let's just go ahead and change it to a decimal. So what is 3/4 as a decimal? 75 hundredths. Okay. So take the fraction, change it into the decimal that you know. If you don't know what the decimal is, come over here and do 3 divided by 4, and that gives you 0.75. That's that simple. 3 divided by 4, 3/4, 0.75. Okay, now I've got my radius again. Let's plug it in the formula. Pi times the radius squared. So that's 3.14 times 7.75 squared. Okay. So pi 3.14
times 7 7/75 squared, or pi times 7 7/75 times 7 7/75. If you don't have the squared button, you can see the answer's same either way. It looks like 188, and there's a 6 there, so that would make that 60. So that would, so just go right up to the tenths place. That'd be 188 and 60 hundredths if you want to write it like that, or you just write 188 and 6/10. Same answer either way. Okay, with the 0, without 0, still gonna be the same. Why did I round that up? Because there's a 6 right there, and that 6 would round that up 1, so 59 goes to 60. Okay? So again, got the fraction. Let's take that fraction, change it to a decimal. 3/4 is 0.75. Let's do one more with a fraction. Alright, this time let's say we've got a diameter, and the diameter is 22 1/4. Okay? Now, what does the diameter do on the circle? Well, it's the one that goes all the way across from side to side, just like up here in this picture, right? So if it's giving you the diameter, you got to divide it by 2, or you got to take 22 1/4.
A fourth is what? Point 25, so that'd be 22 1/25. Then here's the extra step. Since that's the diameter, we've got to take half of it, so we're going to divide that by 2. Alright, and I'll use that, so that would be 22 1/25 divided by 2. So that would be 11.125. 11.125. Alright, and I'm just going to leave it like that for the time being. Okay? So now my formula is going to be pi times 11.125 squared. Alright, pi, can't see that? Pi times 11.125 squared. Alright, and that gives me 388.62. Okay, so if you're going to the tenths place, that would be 388 6/10. So don't round anything, okay, till you get to the end. I didn't round over here for my radius, I just rounded the answer. So I would encourage you to wait till you get to the end for that. Alright, so I'm going to go through that one more time. So the 1/4 turns it into 22 1/25 because 1/4 is 0.25. That's a diameter. So since it's going all the way across the circle like it is up here in number 5, you got to take half of it to get you the radius. Okay, and so the radius is 1.125. Alright, then you do pi times radius squared, and that gives it to you. Alright, that brings us down to our shaded region question. Alright, so here's the donut problem. Okay, so donut wanted to become a priest because it always felt really holy. Alright, so let's make it holy. Alright, so let's say it's got this kind of little picture here, and it's got a little thing going across here, and basically what that is telling you is that all the way across, you can't see that, can you? I'm just going to just step back a little bit. Sorry. Alright, there we go, better. Alright, so let's say that it says, from here to here, let's just say it's, what do you think a donut is? What do you think it is? 6 inches maybe? Let's say 6 inches. Okay. So that's meaning that the diameter, okay, of the whole donut is 6 inches. So you see those little bars like that going with a little line all the way across? That means the diameter is 6 inches. So if the diameter was 6, let's just go ahead and say, well, what would the radius be? Okay, that would be the halfway across. So half of 6, of course, would be 3 inches. Alright, and then let's say they give you this one in here, okay, and they tell you that that is 1.5 inches. Alright, again, so all the way across is the diameter, so that's 1.5 inches. Alright, what's half of 1.5? Because that will give us the radius, so you got to divide that by 2, right? So what's half of 1.5? You can think about it, in terms of money, or you can do it on your calculator. Half $1.50, 75 cents. So the radius for that one would be 0.75. Alright, so half of the diameter of 6 gives you a radius of 3. Half the diameter of 1.5 gives you a radius of 0.75. Okay,
So now, use a little different color here just to help see these two different numbers. Alright, so for this one, I'm doing pi times 0.75 squared. Alright. Pi times 0.75 squared is 1.76625. Okay. Now we'll go down here and we'll do this one. And that one would be pi times 3 squared. Right, let's see that. Pi times 3 squared. And that is 28.26. Okay. Now, to find, what the area of the donut is when you subtract the hole out of there. Okay, there's a hole in the middle of the donut, right? That part. So, if you're just trying to find the area of the donut part that you would actually eat, there's nothing there to eat in the middle. All right. So you got to subtract these two. So you're going to do 28.26, which is what we got here for the big part, minus 1.76625. So I've already got that 28.26 in my calculator right there, so I'm just going to go 28.26 minus 1.76625, and that puts me down to 26.49. Alright, if you went to the nearest tenths place, since there is a 9 right there, that's going to round that up to 26.5. Alright, and that's how much you'd actually eat. You have 26.5 square inches of donut. Okay, so I'll run through that one more time. Get the radius for the big part, which is 3. Pi times 3 squared. Get the radius for the whole. Half of 1.5 is 0.75. Pi times 0.75 squared. Get your two answers. Okay, subtract them. Find out. So we've talked about a couple different things
today. Hope you people are doing alright. If you got any questions, you don't forget to email me, dreid@davidson.k12.nc.us. Just know, I adore you people. I adore you. And I hate that you can't spend your points and buy some Sour Patch Kids, but I'll be enjoying some in your honor. So every time I eat one, I'm thinking about you. So hope you're feeling okay. Stay well, stay safe. Miss you. And hasta la vista, sayonara, and ciao!